A state grant will help deal with coastal erosion on Sandy Neck, and police are investigating a recent homicide. We get an update on the investigation from Police Chief Paul McDonald. On this episode of Barnstable Today, it's Tuesday, September 22nd, 2015. I'm Sarah Mannel. A grant will help town officials find new options to deal with erosion at Sandy Neck. Department of Public Works Director Dan Santos says the state's Office of Coastal Zone Management awarded the town $148,000 to hire a contractor to help find long-term solutions to that erosion.
What we're faced with on Sandy Neck is, it seems like in the trends, the weather trends and the patterns over the winter are such that it's eroding the beach pretty significantly, on the order of about 2 feet a year along Sandy Neck. And it's particularly problematic in the area of right near the bathhouse and the parking lot area, where erosion there can be devastating because of those facilities. We don't want to lose the parking lot. There's a septic system there. The bathhouse is not very old, so we've been very concerned about that. And this all started approximately the time of Hurricane Sandy in October 2012, and since then it just seems to be getting worse every winter. And in the last 3 years, we've actually spent a significant amount of money, well over $250,000, just bringing in sand to protect those items I just mentioned. So what we did is we went to the Coastal Zone Management part of the state and requested a grant, or applied for a grant that they had advertised to look at these issues at Sandy Neck for a long-term solution. What can we do from an engineering standpoint to protect the beach, or if it can't be protected, can we move certain structures out of harm's way? And so this grant really allows us to spend some money with consultants and study the issue and propose a long-term solution. So we're excited to have gotten the grant and looking forward to getting it underway.
A second grant will be split between the town of Sandwich and Barnstable to help study the volume, rate, and direction of sand moving along the shoreline from the Cape Cod Canal to the easterly side of Barnstable Harbor. Police are investigating the murder of a 28-year-old Hyannis woman. To get the latest, we chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald. Chief, it's been a very busy week for you guys this week. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on.
Well, the first thing we had Friday morning, late Friday night, early Saturday morning, we had a homicide up on Route 6 at the rest area between Exit 6 and Exit 7. The call originally came in at about 1:45 in the morning regarding possible shots fired. We got the call in the area of Drumlin Ave in the Comaquid section of Barnstable. We sent multiple crews over there. They did not find anything. Of course, the rest area is almost a half a mile from where we'd received the calls, but that sound will travel that time of night. It travels a great distance. Then about 4 o'clock in the morning, the Mass State Police received a call from passing motorists who was just in the rest area, reporting a body to the rear area of the rest area. They then responded with their detective divisions along with our detective division. They secured the scene. The individual was identified as Christine Ferreira of 313 Castlewood Circle, Hyannis, and she was shot and stabbed multiple times.
Terrible news, Chief. Very disturbed to read this. Reading the paper this morning, it seems like there may be some motive already known maybe for this incident. Talk to me a little bit about the investigation, if you can.
Well, she was involved in an incident back in 2009. People can remember back that far. There was a shooting at the end of Pontiac Street. A vehicle was lowered down to the end of the cul-de-sac. Pontiac Street's a dead-end street. It ends at a cul-de-sac. The vehicle was lowered down. They had a conversation with an individual. He then stepped away from the vehicle. Then a bunch of other individuals stepped out, and they riddled the car with 15 to 20 shots. Two individuals in the front seat were both shot. She was in the back seat with a friend. She did not get injured. She did subsequently testify in court. I don't know how much help her testimony actually was, but eventually an individual identified as Browning Bahir. He was sentenced to 9 to 10 years in state prison. Maybe it's a coincidence, we don't know, but there was recently a appeal of that decision last week, and he lost that appeal. So he was remanded back to prison, so he's got to serve the rest of his sentence. And then this happened early Saturday morning. But she is well known to us, and we're looking at every possible motive right now. We're in the we're tracking her last steps. We're going backwards. Who saw her last, and we're following that to see where that leads us.
Very tough investigation, but it sounds like, Chief, this is not something that residents should be concerned about. This was definitely
not a random act. I mean, she was brought up there purposely. We do believe that she was murdered up there. There was some evidence recovered at the scene in the rest area, so we do believe that is the actual crime scene up at the rest area.
And that's not the only thing you guys have been dealing with this week. Also, you had a fatal accident. This is tragic news coming out of Cotuit.
Right. Unfortunately, last night, about 8:16 p.m., the patrol force responded to the area of Route 28 by Stubtoe Road in Cotuit regarding a motor vehicle, a head-on collision. One vehicle was traveling in a westbound lane. For whatever reason, the vehicle veered off, crossed the WO line, just nicked one vehicle and then hit a Mercedes-Benz head-on. The operator of the vehicle who veered into the other lane, Thomas Levesque, age 64, from East Falmouth, he had some obviously serious injuries. He was transported to Cape Cod Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The operator of the other vehicle, Mercedes-Benz, he received minor injuries to his arm and transported to Cape Cod Hospital, subsequently released. We do not know exactly what the cause of the accident is, if the operator had some type of medical issue prior to the accident or some type of mechanical problem with the vehicle. That right now is currently under investigation by the Accident Reconstruction Unit.
Great. Thank you for that update. Another thing we need to talk about, too, is someone was recently arrested for quite a few DUIs, after having quite a few DUIs.
Just prior to the shooting on Friday night, we responded to Route 132 by the Burger King for a vehicle, a blue Ford pickup truck, being operated in an erratic manner. The vehicle was subsequently stopped by Officer O'Melia and Officer Lounsbury in that rest area. When they did a field sobriety test, the gentleman did not pass in him. He was subsequently arrested for OUIs, brought back to the station. And it was found out that this was the 13th time that he's been arrested for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. He was also operating without a driver's license. His license has been suspended for the last several years. He was held a $5,000 cash bail. He was identified as Frederick Yeoman, Yeomans, of 501 Oakland Road, Hyannis, Mass.
Yeah, I guess my next question was going to be, Chief, how does that happen? How does someone have 13 arrests for OUI? But I guess he was driving without a license. What kind of penalty is there for driving without a license when you've had this many OUIs?
Up to 2.5 years in House of Correction.
Wow.
And this, if he's found guilty, I'm assuming that this will be a lifetime suspension or revocation of his driver's license. Well, we hope.
Right. Pretty serious stuff. I definitely want to keep the streets safe, and driving while intoxicated is not the best choice.
Well, if you've been arrested 13 times, I can only imagine how many times he's actually been driving drunk.
Well, that's
if you got caught 13, you've probably been driving, how many times?
Right. That you weren't busted.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to talk about?
And the last thing, there was another a serious accident on Yarmouth Road. This was Saturday night around 11 o'clock at night down at the Yarmouth-Hyannis Town line on Yarmouth Road, right by Tedeschi's Market. A young lady was traveling in a southerly direction on Yarmouth Road behind an ambulance. An individual just left Tedeschi's, crossed Route 28 directly in front of her. She could not avoid the collision. She struck him. He was subsequently thrown over the vehicle. He did have serious injuries. He was mid-flight to Boston, but he is going to survive his injuries. So that's a good thing. And again, the reconstruction unit is also out there looking at that accident, trying to find out what happened.
Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center. We'll chat with Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.